Yo, 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 party people. I have some BMYRT news, which is funny because that's the only reason why I even do YouTubes. It all started 5+ years ago when I did a joint YouTube with Andrew Walker and my friend Daniel Sheep of Wall Street. And we talked about BMYRT on Andrew's podcast. And just the next day or next week, I wanted to update what I said on the podcast, and I had no way of doing it. So I started a YouTube channel. Never thought I would ever post videos outside of BMYRT. And here we are, over 5 years later, losing people money on a monthly basis. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I hate fucking BMYRT. And I have a little drink here. Or yeah, scotch. So I don't like to talk about it, but when there's news, there's news, and there is news. This is good news. So Equiniti is the name of the trustee that was the BMYRT trustee before UMB was voted in December of 2020. Let me explain. So a trustee is obviously in charge of all aspects of the CVR. It is appointed when the Celgene merger went through, and they're supposed to represent all holders in all legal matters. You're not allowed to sue. I'm not allowed to sue. They have to decide to sue for us. The really sharp hedge funds that own BMYRT in November and December of 2020, seeing that it was likely to not get approval, decided to switch trustees to UMB because UMB has a history of litigating CVRs that fuck people. Happened with Genzyme, and they were the ones that were the trustee. So UMB had people email. My eye is so fucked up, man. Figure out this fucking eye. UMB had people email and show proof of ownership to get to 51% to vote UMB in favor. It was not done official, though, with DTC. It was just done through brokerage statements. And then once the brokerage statements were received by the party that was trying to get UMB appointed, UMB then became the trustee. You all know what happened next. Last September, the judge threw out the lawsuit saying that UMB lacked standing because they said they were not appointed the trustee correctly. UMB appealed that, and that appeal is still ongoing. And in fact, there is a hearing next month, oral hearings at the Court of Appeals for that original lawsuit. Simultaneously, UMB refiled the lawsuit with actual DTC proof of ownership that solidified that they were appointed trustee on 2 different occasions in December of 2020. And that lawsuit is still pending with the same judge, Judge Furman. And once Judge Furman rules on standing there, then we will then go back to wherever we were in the previous lawsuit, which is during discovery. And we've lost over a year now, and it might be another year before Judge Furman has oral hearings on standing and whether or not he even agrees that UMB has current standing based on the DTC documents. So why am I excited? Why am I so happy? Why am I drinking scotch? I would be drinking scotch probably anyway. It's because this lawsuit was headed towards a jury trial. The only way it would have been stopped was if Judge Furman ruled for BMY in summary judgment, which is after all discovery happens, the judge can throw out the lawsuit before a jury trial. It's very unlikely to happen. Usually lawsuits, if they're going to be thrown out, they happen at the very beginning of the process after they're filed, not at the end after you've spent tens of millions of dollars and done discovery. So that wasn't a big risk at all with the CVR. This standing issue came out of nowhere, and BMY, they gambled and they won. So why am I so happy? Sorry, I'll tell you. The original trustee is Equiniti, and Equiniti filed a lawsuit today basically saying, fuck you, BMY. we are going to sue you with the exact same reasons that UMB sued you. And this lawsuit is contingent on Judge Furman throwing out UMB in the second lawsuit, or the Court of Appeals is denying the appeal in the first lawsuit. What does this mean in English? This means that this lawsuit is going nowhere. Okay. Obviously, if UMB does not have standing, then Equiniti has standing. There's only two possible people that could file this lawsuit. We never knew until today if Equiniti was going to go forward with a lawsuit. It's solely up to them, even if we want them to. And they are an old school trustee that was appointed by Bristol Myers, not by shareholders back when the CVR was created. And the general rule of thumb is that they want the least amount of waves so that they get these kind of sweet rolls in the future for any future trustee action. The lawsuit today, which I just read, in no plain words says, fuck you, BMY. We want you to relist the CVR. We want you to acknowledge that we are going to sue you. And we completely agree with everything UMB has alleged in their lawsuits, including that they did not use diligent efforts for lysocell approval. It's just so hard to overstate how bullish this is, because now we know that risk, which was big after the judge threw out UMB's standing, that risk is gone, okay? Even if the judge rules the second lawsuit is invalid, and the judge rules that, and the appeals court rules that the first lawsuit was invalid, the next step would be Equiniti filing the lawsuit, which presumably would just start off with where UMB was. I can't imagine how Judge Furman would make them start at the beginning after he said that UMB could refile and start where they were. Again, that would just be pure craziness, for lack of a better word. $30 or $40 million is already spent on discovery, and to get to this point, Judge Furman isn't an asshole. He just wants to rule by the law, and I think he's so wrong when it comes to the standing issue. He has a thing about standing. He's done it with previous lawsuits where he's thrown it out based on standing, and the worst case would be that this takes another 10 years or 5 years, and Equiniti has to refile, start from the beginning. And we compound interest at 10% annually, basically. It's about 10%. And I can assure you right now it's about $14 to $15 a CVR is worth. And this is if you funded it. If you didn't fund it, you're still compounding interest. Don't worry. You're just not going to get the percentage that the funders get. The general rule of thumb is take 25 or 20%, maybe put 20% off of whatever the final verdict is, and you'll get that. So 15 minus 20% is a lot of fucking dollars. And it's $15 today. So Bristol Myers, this clock's ticking. It ticks every fucking day, every month, every year. And I'm not saying we're going to get a settlement anytime soon, but this should make them a little bit more concerned with dragging their heels. I was told previously not to expect any settlement talks until you're much further along, post-discovery and maybe even post-summary judgment, because Bristol Myers will try to use everything they can to, every Hail Mary they can to get this through. Now, we're talking about a liability now that's north of $10 billion. Nothing's going to happen imminently. I don't want to get your hopes up, but this does mean the CVR now again has value. And to prove it, somebody came out yesterday with a 10 million share bid at $1.70 for a funded CVR through a third-party broker. I'll repeat that. They want to buy 10 million shares of BMYRT for $1.70, fully funded through a broker. Again, if you didn't fund, then take 25% off that or 30% off that or whatever. It depends on what the settlement is. A lower settlement, you're going to get a larger percentage taken out of your CVR, and a higher settlement, it's going to be a smaller percentage of the CVR. So, very excited. The most epic of epic Vegas parties is going to happen if we win in trial. Forget it. Like, we're just going to rent out win. But any settlement at this point, I need a settlement north of $6 to get excited. It's just been too many years. So 6 or higher, we party in Vegas. Below 6, there'll be no party. Okay, maybe they'll be at $4 or $5. Maybe there'll be a small party, but anything below $4, there's no party. I just want to get that out there, let you guys all know, and that's it.